guys,
I'm Hallee,
and I'm Jamie.
and this is Literal Nonsense.
Hey guys, welcome back to Literal Nonsense Podcast. We're eating some frozen cheese over here.
I don't know what's wrong with my fridge. It's like on the medium can't speak. It's on the medium setting, and I have like a little snack pack in there, but like the fruit's frozen, the fucking cheese is frozen, but like the other side is not frozen. So I confused.
Maybe you put it too far back or something.
I don't know. This mini fridge sucks. I got it during COVID because I was like, oh, like I'll just like have like a mini fridge by me, but like it just hasn't worked out the way that it should. So whatever.
I hate that. I don't like it. Okay, well that's that. What else has been going on? Oh my gosh, I've actually had a really big week. I ran a 5K on Sunday to officially get initiated into marriage. I feel like that's like a requirement. So Ryan and I ran it. I don't know. I feel like it's just like a very like basic married thing to do is run a 5K together.
Really?
I feel like all like the basic bitches do it.
Oh, are you a basic bitch?
I guess so. But to combat my basic bitchness, I did a boudoir shoot yesterday, which I told you all about, and then sent you my bare ass. Honestly, a very liberating experience, I will say. I'm not a very shy person, so I wasn't that nervous about it. But then, like when I got there, I was like, I wonder how I will feel with my nipples out with someone taking photos of them. And I was like slightly concerned. But then, honestly, it was liberating. And this woman, wow, I want to take her out with me everywhere I go.
Well, okay. Liked her that much?
She just made me feel so good. Like, she was like, you are a queen. Like, amazing. You look great. And I was like, bitch, take all my photos.
It is her job to hype you up.
It is. It is. And I thought that while she was doing it. But then I also was like, you make me feel like you're really, like, impressed with me, you know? Like, she made me feel like I was the most impressive person she's ever photographed.
But, like, in her mind, she's like, oh my god, this girl fucking sucks. Like, this is the worst shit I've ever done.
I think I did a good job. I don't know. Yeah, no, but she was great. So I really liked her as well. And then I got some, like, obviously I sent Hallee my bare butt today because I got, like, sneak peek photos. And they were great. And I had a good time. And my bridal shower is Saturday. So we're going to go from boudoir to tea party real fast.
Crazy.
What a change up.
Oh, I had COVID. That's another update.
Hallie's like, yeah, so you did that and I got COVID.
I've been home literally just tweaking out. I can't do it. But I'm clear tomorrow, so
thank
watch
God,
out, world.
My bridal shower is Saturday, so
I know.
But you would have actually, I mean, granted, I know that you're not a fan of all that is girly and pink, but I think you would have been sad if you missed it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been sad, especially because I got this cute-ass dress, and I had to get it altered, and I have, like, this whole look that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I would have been upset. Well, obviously, I would feel upset, too, that I would not be with you on your special day.
Right. You're like, actually, fuck you. Yeah, so I guess after this episode, we'll let you know how that goes. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much all the life updates we could possibly have, actually. Yeah. So let's get into
COVID in May of 2024.
No, actually a lot of people have been getting sick. I don't know if it's COVID or they're just sick. But well,
it's rude.
It is rude. But yeah, without further ado, our friends, let's get into this book because we have a lot to fucking chat about.
Oh, Jesus.
Oof. Okay. So we are covering the second half of Crescent City, A House of Earth and Blood. So the first book. We're doing pages 466 through 799, chapters 51 through 97. So the whole book. So the second half. So we ended off with Bryce and Hunt realizing that the Crystallos is not what killed Danica, Maximus, that weird vampire guy, or the Acolyte.
Dun, dun, dun. So who done it?
Right. And so everything we know about Danica's death is wrong. And so we're back to square one now. And great. Yay.
Sorry, my cat just like fucking tried tried to jump the chair and he failed. Okay,
I
sorry.
was like, oh, so funny, I guess. Whatever. Okay, we have chaos going
I
on.
told
Okay,
you my ADHD is fucking bonkers today.
that's a problem because this episode is
Crazy
God.
itself.
Anyways,
Anyways.
and so Bryce is like, okay, well, we don't know anything about her death, so let's summon a fucking demon and ask him if he knows
Cool.
anything.
Cool
So
beans.
not only does she summon a fucking demon, but she summons Adis, the Prince of the Chasm. So she's like, fuck the normal demons. We're summoning big guns. And so Hunt is like there when she does this, and they start talking, and he's like, "What?" Because Adis is like, "Oh, I haven't seen you since you were 13." And he's like, "Why have you fucking met this guy? Like, what the fuck?"
Wait, but can we also just talk about how he like has the form of like a white fluffy cat?
Yeah, I mean, I love that.
I
I
love
mean, if
it.
I was a prince of hell, I too would pick a cat.
I mean, obviously, obvious choice.
Right, agreed. And so basically, while he's also talking, and he realizes, okay, like Bryce and this man Adis have met before. Adis also alludes that hell is just another realm, another planet like Midgard. So we're getting more of that like alternate reality, multiple universe thing going here. And so Adis, the only really information he offers about Danica is says you have to run the tests again. And she's like, okay, great, thanks for fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And then before he leaves, he goes, Bryce, you have to make the drop. Now, we have not explained what this was, quite frankly, because last episode, we threw literally a million things at you, and this would have been cruel. And so I'll tell you what it is now. So basically, the drop is what all the Veneer, which are the magical beings, what they do in order to claim their powers and immortality. So you're
Okay,
not fully.
also, just need
Yes.
to like interject real quick. Like when you say veneer or like when you read veneer, don't you think of fucking veneers? Like the teeth veneers?
Oh, not when I read it, but when I say it, yes.
Are we saying it right? I don't know. This is
I
a
mean, how the fuck else would you say that? That's one of the
That's
ones I'm
true.
like pretty confident about.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fair. And so yeah, he's like, all right, you got to make this drop. It's how you claim your immortality. So you're like pretty much a human basically until you make this drop. And once you make the drop, it produces this thing called first light, which is your like raw, powerful magic. And you donate a little bit of it to this city, and it helps like power the city, all the electronics, all that stuff. Okay, so that's going to be important, probably in really more so book two, but just keep that in mind how that process works. Now, when you're making the drop, you fall, like literally fall into your power, into the depths of your psyche, whatever you want to call it. Once the bottom is reached, your mortal body dies and you have to like race to the top. In this process, you have an anchor who like helps drag your soul back up, so you have like someone in the world waiting for you, to help you like return. So that process will be important in this book and the books to come. Just keep it in mind, friends. Go ahead,
Excuse
COVID
me.
queen.
Sorry. So yeah, so after this, Bryce calls Declan to tell him that he needs to run the test. Love that. So he said that the Autumn King had like the tech that they needed, and he told them not to waste it on the case because there's, I guess, much more important things to use it for. Not that they're trying to figure out who killed all these people, but whatever. That's just my opinion. And also, in the meantime, Hunt is called to Micah's office. Hunt, you're being summoned to the principal's office. Please show up.
No, it's like that like kind of fear. You're like, fuck.
Well, yeah, and I think also like Micah is like super not bipolar, but like because he's so powerful, it's kind of like
Yeah, you're not sure what you're getting.
yeah, like I think they know that at any moment like Micah's gonna be like, yeah, you're done and like fucking just annihilate them.
Right. Is he also
Well,
blonde?
Micah, I don't know. Do they ever say?
I'm trying to think who I imagine him as. I
I
think I
imagine him as
imagine him
like a
blonde.
you know who I kind of imagine him as? That guy from American Horror Story from Hotel with Lady Gaga.
Okay. I
The guy
kind
with the
of.
blue eyes.
Yeah, he's not blonde, but I like that actually. So
He's
I'm into
like
that.
yeah, he's like a light brown,
Hmm.
blue eyes.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, it's not a very happy reason why Hunt gets called to the principal's office, anyways, because Micah's like, "Yo, summit's in 2 weeks, and you've gotten no headway on this case. So, as a punishment, you have to kill all these people."
Yeah. He's like,
And Hunt's like, ah, fuck. Mind you, Bryce is worried because she's like, what's going on? She hasn't heard from him. And she's like at home. I think she's like watching some raunchy reality TV. And he like walks right through the front door and goes straight to the bathroom. And she's like,
Yeah, and she like smells blood on him because she's
yeah.
like has like kind of power ease, like heightened senses, like a fae.
Well, she is half a.
Right, like but like she has that part of it, I guess.
Yeah. So he comes home covered in blood, and Bryce, goes to check on him. She goes like into the bathroom, and he's just like sitting, just like in the shower, just with the fucking faucets like all the way turned on hot. So it's like literally burning him,
Oh
but
yeah, and he's
because
like
he's
healing and stuff. He's like burning and healing.
yeah, so
Yeah.
he's like literally burning alive, but because he's a mythical man, he has magic and he's healing himself while it's sadistic,
Right. Yeah,
honestly.
like he's torturing himself actually.
Yeah. So is that
Oof.
masochism?
Yeah, something. Yeah,
I,
probably. Yeah,
I I
yeah.
can never get those two straight. Anyways, not that I should know these things, but
You're like, anyway.
anyways, so I feel like okay, so Jamie feels like this is one of the most raw and vulnerable moments that
Yeah,
we
you
see
don't?
between two characters. And she said possibly in all of the SJM series. Okay, hear me out. I agree that this is a very vulnerable moment because she's in there with him in the
Well, and
shower.
she
She's
like dresses
washing
him
him.
after
Yeah,
he's like
she's
naked. She
yeah,
literally has his balls in her face, but like in a kind way.
yeah.
Like that's a rare moment for SJM to write something like not sexy, and she like, tucks him into bed.
I mean, yeah, but then like my first thing when you were like the most vulnerable moment was like I thought of in Throne of Glass when Aelin comes back from her fucking aunt or whatever, and she's got the mask on her face, and she's
Okay,
like, "Get it off, get it off, get it off," and like,
now that you wrote that, I agree. um, I think I'm just caught up on Akatar, and it's the most vulnerable
mm,
moment of the two series we've done so far. Maybe was a better way to word that.
okay, yeah, I
Because
can,
even like Nesta crying, it was fine, but I wasn't like overly touched by it.
yeah, I wasn't like, wow, this is
Like this,
crazy.
I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, so maybe
Um,
I worded that improper. Maybe like the two series we've done so far.
okay, okay, that's better.
Okay,
But
fair.
yeah, so
Thanks for calling me
she,
out.
anytime. So she cleans him up in the shower. She gets him dressed. She lays him to bed. She gives him a little kiss on the forehead. Good night, Hunt. Because he's like mute, like he's like a zombie, like he's
Yeah,
he's
he's
out of
like
body
just
basically.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then the next morning, it's like ton of sexual tension. So we're just waiting for this to happen. Right at this point, they had this vulnerable moment, and then
Yes.
the sexual tension builds, which seems to be a common theme for SJM, right? And then
Yeah. Yes.
also, okay, but also,
Uh-oh, here we go. I'm getting trouble again.
sorry, but like you're like you said like that's kind of like similar to Nessa and Cassian, which yes, I agree. Like
Like
the
that part
whole
is
silver
like
flames, yes.
because
But
as soon as they got vulnerable, that's when their sexual tension really ramped up. Like to me, she has a common theme of writing like when the characters open up, when they're like very like walled up characters.
mhm.
Once they open up, that's when their sexual tension like really ramps up.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but then you had said that like Hunt and Bryce are similar to Nessa and Cassian, and I was like, no, I
Oh my
don't
god,
think
I
so.
hear like cats attacking each other.
Yeah, they're fighting. Anyways,
Anyways, why? Okay, so why don't you think so?
first of all, they give me two completely different vibes. I mean,
Really?
like, yeah. So let's see how I can explain this. So like Nesta, she has a history. Please hold. My cat's trying to knock down my television. Okay, so yeah, I don't. How do I explain this? I can see that's similar in the case that like Nesta and Bryce both have trauma, they're both working through it, yada yada, and then there's this big beefy man who's like, interested in them, but like also they just started off differently. Hunt and Bryce started off completely different than Nesta and
Okay,
Cassian.
that's yeah. I just think it's very much similar. Like Nesta and Bryce are both like spicier characters. Hunt and Cassian
Okay.
are both like long-haired, big beefy men. Like more of I guess like that. Not like
Okay.
exact. I just like even like their fire and passion is like more of like a lustful hatred in the beginning. Like Reese and Feyre, even though Reese and Feyre also were like enemies to lovers, like they weren't really. Like
No.
she needed like help and like someone to like coddle her, and he kind of did, even when he was like her enemy.
But like I also wouldn't say that Hunt and Bryce were completely enemies to lovers either.
Okay, yeah. I guess I don't know. Again, like I think I'm just comparing it like to the two series, so that's where I get like hung up on. I don't know.
All right, well, it's up for debate.
Okay. And so they're investigating these murders. They're like, okay, what the fuck? Because they still have no idea what's going on. Declan is investigating right now. And so Victoria reports to Hunt, so one of his other Triari members, and she says that the drug synth, which we heard about at the beginning of the book when Fury was at the club with Bryce and was like, do not fucking touch that.
Synth.
Yeah. So she goes, it was found on Danica's clothing as well as Maximus the vampire. And so it's not synthetic or organic. It's like something in between with like magic involved. It's like very like it's like a new thing. And one of the ingredients is obsidian salt in synth, which is going to be important. We'll talk about that, but just note that now and know that that's a thing.
Obsidian salt.
Important.
So also, Bryce goes to Therian for intel about who's selling the synth on the river. And Therian kind of drops a bomb. He was like, well, Danica was doing drug deals on the barge. And she's
You're
like,
like, huh?
what?
Right.
So again, it's like everything that you thought you knew about Danica is a lie.
And
And
that it just keeps happening this fucking part of the book. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I would write the case that Bryce had no idea who Danica was, like at all.
agreed.
Like
Agreed.
Danica portrayed one type of person to Bryce, but like was a completely different person. But not in like a
Agreed.
bad way. You know
No,
what I mean?
I mean agreed, but then I also think we should have this conversation after the end of this book as well
Okay, okay.
because
We'll put a pin in
yeah,
it. We'll put a pin in
right.
it.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, so Therian's like, yeah, this intel came like the day before her death. And Bryce was like, the only thing that could make sense that Danica would have this drug was that she was like trying to confiscate it. Like
Right, like she was doing like the good for the city.
exactly, because Bryce has this idea of Danica in her head.
Mhm.
So she calls Fury and she was like,
Mhm.
"Do you know if like Danica ever mentioned anything about synth?" And Fury just
Fury's
kind of
like,
yeah.
"Oh."
Fury's just like well, synth can replace real magic and it can make you have like superpower and super strength. And she was like, that's kind of why like I told you never to take it. And she said that Danica never mentioned it because she didn't want Bryce to get addicted to it. So it seems like, they're all looking out for Bryce in the
Which
same breath.
Bryce makes a
Like,
good point though, because Bryce was like, like Fury was like, you snort anything up your nose, and Bryce was like, and you guys do it fucking with me. Like,
yeah, but
what?
I think this is when things start to kind of show that like Bryce is actually kind of really innocent. Like she does not have an
No,
idea
yeah.
about anything that's going on, whereas like Danica and Fury both are like in the shit and they're like trying to like
Yeah, like they're like in the bigger plot of everything.
yeah, like they're kind of trying to like shield her from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like Bryce
And
has been playing in like her Barbie dreamland like this whole time, and now it's like real, like she's in the real world now.
no, like actually, yeah, literally. And so Bryce is just like I feel like just getting fine like just thrown left and right like this whole book. And so she's like starting to think now with like synth, like this is like a new player kind of in this whole case. And she's like, "Oh my god, I bet synth is what can be used to repair the horn." So like the whole horn thing was like, "Oh, it can be repaired with magic that's not magic, yada yada."
Hmm.
And she's like, "Oh, that sounds a
All these
lot like what."
stupid riddles.
Right. She's like, but it kind of sounds like synth. And so, again, as we mentioned, the synth has obsidian salt. And obsidian salt is also what's used to summon the crystallos demon. And a crystallos is used to track the horn, which synth can repair. So everything is like a big fucking triangle, square, hexagon, I don't know. But like, she's like, okay, these things all like have ties to each other. So this has to mean something.
Yeah. So now it's Danica's birthday. Yay!
We're like, this is all tied together, but who fucking cares? SJM does that all the time, though.
So throws in just like random fucking shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is relevant, but yes, she does have a thing of way of doing that. Yes.
Like it's just like the most like crazy obscene thing happens, then it's like now we're dancing under the willow wisps. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, so it's Danica's birthday. So Bryce goes and gets her favorite dessert, which is a chocolate croissant. And must I say, Danica has great taste because I love a chocolate croissant.
Yes, amazing.
Um,
Great. Like, is the pastry chocolate or it's the croissants filled with the gooey chocolate inside?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I think it is.
Okay.
That's what it is in my mind. Anyways,
Okay.
so Bryce gets the box of croissants and she opens it, and in like icing, it says like trash. It's like written on them. So come to find out that it was Emily,
Emily, yeah.
right? And
Emily? Emily? No, Emily's better.
Emily, right? And Emily's one of the wolves. Is she in a pack?
Yeah, I forget the name of her pack, but she's kind of like the sad excuse for like the replacement of the pack of devils.
Yeah, and like I think in book 2 she's like the pack leader of that pack.
Mm-hmm. I think
Like
so
she
too.
she has like a big role, I think. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so like Bryce just wanted to like commemorate her dead friend sitting by the river. She wanted to eat a freaking chocolate croissant, and Emily had to ruin it. So Hunt is like pissed. So
Oh,
he
I'm
like he
pissed.
like flies to what is it? Asphodel Meadow? No, that's humans.
Wolfwood? Nope, Moonwood.
Moonwood flies to Moonwood, and he like almost fucking kills her because he loves Bryce. But that was not a good move because he's gonna get in trouble for that.
Correct. And so Bryce is like, well, thanks for helping. Obviously, nothing has happened yet as far as his repercussions, but they go to the Med Witch the next day. It's the same Med Witch that Ruhn had been talking to as far as like a cure for the horn and how to fix it.
Rundanen.
Right. And the one who's been at like all the crime scenes. And so,
Hypaxia.
yes. And so Bryce still has crystallose venom in her leg. And so the Med Witch, she feels like she can make a synth antidote with the venom from the crystallose. So the synth will make you go crazy and like freak out. So she's like, oh, I can make an antidote. Okay, great. And so she extracts it from Bryce in this super painful process. Very well written, very beautiful passage. Her and Hunt really have a moment. Like
Yeah.
he's like kissing her, calling her
This was
sweetheart.
this was a good this was a good scene.
I don't think I like the term sweetheart. Like when he's like, I got you, sweetheart.
Oh.
I feel uncomfy. I just think that term, I don't like it.
I mean,
Um,
that didn't really bother me, but I also wasn't like, oh my god. Like I just liked the scene overall.
yeah, like if he said I got you, babe, I would think I would have liked it better. I don't know. That's
Mm.
just preference. I just don't think I like the word sweetheart. I think I came to realize, like, I was like, it made me a little like icky crawly inside. Anyways, that's just a sidebar. But yeah, so either way, they're just vibing, and I feel like at this point, this is really where they cross a line that there's like they're not going back to being friends or like comrades in solving this murder. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're together. They're not, but like they
They
are
are.
romantically involved for sure.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Faux show.
So dun dun dun. Hunt
Here it
and
comes.
Bryce get called to the principal's office. Mike is like, get your asses over here now. Big
And that's when
yikes.
you're like, yeah, this is like the
You're like,
first time he
fuck.
got called to the principal's office, you're like, I don't know what I did, so I'm nervous. This time you're like, I, in fact, know I did something wrong and I am very scared.
Yeah. So
Different vibes.
so Mike is like, yeah, just kind of like as payment for attacking Emily in Moonwood, I'm gonna saw your wings off. I remember reading
Which,
that and I was like, what the fuck?
well, it's also different from Akatar wings, right? So when those wings get fucked up, like you're fucked forever, like the Bat
Yeah.
Boys. Angel's wings grow back, guys. So
But still,
no, first time I read it as well, I was like, oh, but I also did need him to mention like they grow back because I was like, I'm sorry, that's a little extreme. Like, he didn't do anything and you're gonna fucking cut off his like livelihood, but they grow back. I mean,
yeah, but you know what's also crazy is that like he goes into detail like in the book about like the regrowth process and how like there reaches a
mhm.
point where it's like extremely itchy
Yeah, I think yeah, you know when you have a really bad itch, that shit fucking sucks.
in the middle of your back that you can't reach. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, Sabina's there, like in the office with Mike
Like
and
she's
all of them.
demanding this. She's like, yes.
Yeah, so she's loving this. And at this point, we also learn that Bryce had traded her place in the Bone Quarter for Danica because
Mm-hmm.
she didn't think. it's like alluded that like she didn't think that like Danica would make it to the bone quarter because of how she died.
Right, like your
Well, not that
soul.
she, yeah, like the way that it happened, like technically she shouldn't have been allowed access. So like when she died, like Bryce went there immediately and traded her
Right. It's
place.
almost like a heaven and hell situation where they send your body across the river, and if it sails across, you get to like have your final resting place in the bone quarter. It the also like is the choice if it dumps your body in the
Yeah.
river and you don't make it. So Bryce
And
was
you
like,
have no
I'm not.
afterlife, basically.
Yeah, and Bryce was like, I'm not risking it. I'm gonna trade her place, which is fucked because now she like literally
So now when she dies, she will have no place to go.
correct.
Or
Great job.
so we think.
Right, great, right. Of that, yeah, we'll talk about that. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Anyways, so Bryce is like helping Hunt because now his wings are sawed off. Traumatic.
Ick.
And she asks him if he like meant the kiss in the Medwitch office, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And you're as a reader like, yes. So
Thank God. You just gotta own up to it. Way to go. Way to be a man.
wait, but like Hunt and Bryce start hooking up, but like his bloody wing stumps like are like festering and bleeding all over the couch, so they have to put a pause. They're like, let's come
Mm,
back to this later.
nothing
What
worse
a
than
what a buzzkill.
yeah, drying you up like the smell of blood. And you're like,
All over her white couch, please.
right. Actually, forget me being horny. My couch is
My
ruined.
poor
So,
couch. But anyways, so at this point, you know, like they both realize that they truly care for each other.
oh my God, that was like a what the fuck? Do you hear that?
Yeah, it was in a motorcycle.
I don't know what that was. That was aggressive. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so like, okay, they're like not having sex because literally, and like apparently they go to the doctor after to like get him fixed again. And he's like, Doc, so can I have sex or not? And Bryce is like,
Yeah.
Sir, like, fucking relax. So even though they're not having sex right now because Hunt is literally bleeding out and hemorrhaging, like they like each other. So we're going there. We know we're like together. Okay, fine. So cute. We like them. And so while Hunt is actually trying to heal, uh, Bryce is like feeling the jacket that Danica gave her.
The leather
And
jacket that
it's a leather
says
jacket.
that has their infamous quote on it, through love all is
Through love,
possible.
yeah, through love, all is possible. And she feels like a little pocket, and in the like word love or whatever, there's like a pouch, and she's like, "What the fuck?" She opens it. There's a USB in it, which I'm like, already, I'd be like, "Fuck yes!" Like,
Yeah, but like also how would
ah.
she not have realized this? She's been wearing this jacket for like 2 years.
No, absolutely for sure agree with you. I'm just saying, like, that's like some Scooby Doo shit. You're
Oh
like,
yeah, of
fuck yes, it's
course.
like a hidden fucking compartment. And so she pops that USB and she finds 3 videos in it. It's all from Redner Industries, and it's all test subjects being injected with synth. And in the video, they freak the fuck out and like massacre people. At
Hmm.
this point, Bryce realizes that however Danica, Maximus, the Acolyte, all those like heaps of bodies, that is what happens when someone takes synth, freaks out, and like kills people. And so Bryce is like, oh my God, whoever killed all those people was high on synth. Like,
Hmm.
that's who killed them. We don't know who it was yet,
But
but
that's how it
synth,
happened.
yes. And so now the drug is like a huge part of the case. Not only can it repair the horn, which we're looking for, but it's also what the murderer is taking. And so at this point, Bryce goes back to the apartment, and Tharian texts her and says, a shipment of synth is going down right now in the river. And Bryce is like, amazing. Like, we need to start getting cooking with this. And so
Hmm.
she goes. Now, he like has her in this like little dingy?
A
What's it?
dinghy.
A dinghy? A dingy? He gets her
A
on this like
dingy
little
dinghy.
yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah. So he has her on this like little dinghy, and they get over to the big barge, and it's the Viper Queen like selling synth, and she's like, "All right,
Hmm.
checks out, like that makes sense." And all of a sudden,
Uh-oh.
like the light shifts, and fucking Hunt is buying synth.
No!
When I tell you, my heart fucking fell into my asshole reading
No,
that.
yeah, seriously. Like, I was his number one supporter.
And she was even saying like, I didn't know it was him because he had no wings, like, which he doesn't.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
so his
yes.
profile, she didn't realize it was him. Can you imagine like the person that you just like established that you're with and like love basically, like just the ultimate betrayal.
No.
And I also, when I was reading the book the first time, I was like, there's no way it's him. Like, it's not him. Like, oh, or he's
Yeah.
like,
Possessed or like
yeah,
somebody's controlling him.
yeah, guess what, guys? He's not. So,
Bad. Bad move.
so
Bad, bad move.
Bryce fucking gets her ass on that boat. Like she gets in the like she jumps onto the
Yeah,
barge.
no, she was like, "Excuse me, what's going on here?" Hunt's like, "Don't worry about it, sweetheart."
Right. But so it turns out that Hunt and his fellow rebels were going to use the synth and take it themselves to overthrow the Asteri.
Yeah, but like also a bad move because I don't know. The Syria are these all powerful beings, and like they're like, yeah, let's take this drug that we know is gonna annihilate us after we take it. Like they knew that going in, right? Like they knew they'd get these powers, they'd rip apart the Asteria, and then they'd rip apart themselves. But
Well,
like,
that is why Hunt was saying that he was also very strongly encouraging the Medwitch to find the antidote because he was going to wait to take it until after they had the antidote and then take it, destroy them, and then give himself the antidote.
I mean, okay, whatever. But like, still, there's a lot of footfalls in these footfalls, footholes, potholes.
Sure.
Whatever, something. There's
Yeah.
holes in the plot here because
Yeah.
whether this is magical land or if it's real life, no, there's no shot that it's gonna work out exactly the way they think it's gonna work out. And like
Hmm.
he just like established this stuff with Bryce, like, and he's just gonna throw it all away. So I was mad
Well,
at Hun. I was mad at Hun for a while. I was like, you deserve no redemption, boy.
Well, and so here's the problem because it turns out the Viper Queen set them up. The Viper Queen was not actually selling or buying synth. Um, Micah told her to do it to catch these guys. And so Micah pops in and he's like, "You idiots." And
Yeah.
so Micah's pissed. Now, as Hallie just said, like, "Oh, you're going to throw it all away for Bryce." We find out in a little bit that Hunt tried to go back on this plan and was like, "Guys, we're not doing it anymore. Like, I'm good just
Yeah.
living my life like this. Like, whatever." So
He tried to bail out.
his two fellow would-be rebels, we're gonna find out what happened to them. It's a lot worse of a punishment than he receives because he genuinely, they find his like texts, tried to like
Yeah.
break out.
Basically,
Uh,
he was like in the clear.
yeah, like
But
he
like,
was not great, but like he thought better, and they were like, "All right, we'll cut you some slack."
yeah. But then like also what pissed me off is that like Hunt knew about the synth like days before Bryce had
Well,
figured it out.
yes, yes.
And that like also really pissed me off. And I was like, bro, like come on. You're supposed to be solving this case together. Whatever your plans were, if you were gonna ditch them anyways, why wouldn't you tell Bryce?
Well, and that's what Bryce gets pissed about because when Micah gets there, Micah's like, "Hey, guess what? Hunt's known about this, like Hallie just said. And guess what? Danica was the one who leaked it to the streets. Danica found out about it in Redner Industries. She leaked it to the streets. Like she made it like illegal, like she got it to the public. Now, she did that because she was addicted to synth. And Bryce is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Now, Hunt's just being mad quiet, and you're like, "Oh my god, he knew all this." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And Micah then is like, "Yeah, and guess what? Like, Hunt figured out Danica's murder."
Yeah.
And
And wait, but also not okay, this is like a whole lot to unpack, I'm sure. But like Danica, I mean, Bryce just found out that like Danica was a drug abuser and a drug seller, major. She also found out that like her kind of
man,
boyfriend knew about this for a few days,
that he
and
also wanted to take the drug that her friend was addicted to overthrow the rulers of this planet. I mean, it's a lot. But guess what? That's not fucking all.
well, yeah, because then fucking Micah's like, oh, and by the way, Danica was high on synth, and then she fucking ripped all the Packy Devils to shreds and then killed herself. So that's how she died.
And
And
he's like, and
you're
Hunt knew, and Hunt is like, yes.
and you're just sitting like reading that. I was like, there's no fucking way. There's just like
Mind you, at
no
this point in
fucking
the book,
way.
you have like 300 pages left, and I'm like, I simply don't want any more,
Like,
actually.
what more could there be? What more could there be after this?
Ha Just you wait.
Well, yeah, knowing that now, obviously, but
And so then Micah also was like, "Oh, I'll just solve the rest of the case for you too." So yes, Danica, that is why she is murdered. That is what happened. Now the crystallose is just a side effect because when you take a lot of synth, if you're like a heavy drug user, because there's obsidian salt in it, a crystallose gets summoned. That's what
mm-hmm.
happens. And you're like, "That's what we've been reading for."
Yeah,
This is the conclusion to the big murder mystery is that she fucking is a drug addict and she fucking lost her mind?
yeah, very weird. And like, also, why, why did? like Micah send them on this hunt to figure this out if he already knew everything?
That's a fucking good point. And because this is good fucking point. Yep. Good job. Yeah, you're just like, what? I think at that point, you're like, so what the fuck that you don't even think about that you're like,
Mm-hmm.
Micah knew, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's explaining it like he knew. So why did you have us?
You get so caught up in like the
Mm
craziness of like everything that's happened that like now only just now after like reading it and like knowing about it am I like why the fuck,
hmm.
you know, like
Yeah.
why as the reader are you not asking, well, why did Micah send them out on this mission then?
Right. Suspicious. Good point. Good fucking point. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're just so shocked and so heartbroken and so betrayed. Also, I was just thinking too, like this whole in theory, like solution to the murder, right? The
Mm-hmm.
resolution, the answer to the murder is all about drugs. We were literally just talking about how in Akatar where like they don't have drugs. This whole book is
Yeah.
like there's
It's
fucking drug addicts. They're a bunch of crackheads. Like
it's centered
that's
around one
crazy.
drug, yeah.
Yeah, like and yeah, they're fucking smoking myrrh through and like
But like I think that's the cool thing too about like SJM is that like each series is very different from each other, but they're also very similar. But like I feel like themes, not maybe not themes, but like thing, I don't know, they just complement each other well. Like there's a series I feel for every person. I mean, there's only
agreed.
3 series, but I mean,
Like
pick your poison. But
correct. Like if you know
like if
my
you like more like real life kind of like say like Vampire Diaries, right? Like I
mhm.
would say, or like Supernatural, like you would probably like Crescent City, right?
Yeah, like so that's what I was about to say. Like this analogy won't make sense for necessarily all of our listeners, but it'll make sense to you. Like I feel like I'm Akatar, Chelsea's Crescent City, Amelia Star in a Glass. Like that
Yeah,
checks out.
yeah, 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 for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like
Yeah.
yeah. Like I tell them that all the time. Again, some of you guys are like, who the fuck are Chelsea and Amelia? Um, but that'll make sense to like Hallie. So that's
Yes.
why I said it. But yeah, there really is like something for everyone. Like there's the high fantasy, fairy, romance, like mystical. There's like the modern technology. And then
Hmm.
there's like the medieval, like kings and queens and
Yeah.
still fairies, but like more of like the medieval like kings and lords of the land, like Game of Thronesy almost Throne
Yes.
of Glass.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, and so
Sick.
this is fucked up. And so Hunt is locked in a cell. They're like, "Well, you're an idiot, so you're going to fucking jail." And so, like as I mentioned, the other two get a lot worse punishment. So Victoria is his other little would-be rebel, and Justinian. And so Victoria is locked in a box and thrown into the deepest trench of the ocean. She is cognizant, but like will just live forever
Well,
and
because that's the thing about Victoria that we never said is like she
is a
like
wraith,
has,
right?
yeah, so she like can take different skins or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they just have her like essence like in a box and
Yeah,
they're
so they
like,
yeah,
see you later.
crazy.
And then
At
they
the
like
bottom of the ocean.
yeah, and then they like crucify Justinian. Also like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't yeah,
I don't know
strange.
what's up with her biblical things this book, but anyways, nothing more to say on that. And so Hun is allowed to remain alive, as I mentioned, because he did truly try to stop this deal because he realized he was in love. Okay. And so he does admit he was planning to take the synth since he discovered it. He was like, that was my plan. As soon as I heard about it, I was like, that is how we do this. He was working on the antidote with the Medwitch to take it himself so he didn't lose control and rip himself apart. Okay. You're like, wow, you're a piece of fucking shit. Like,
Mhm.
you were this whole book ranting to Bryce, oh my god, I'm so sad about how it ended with fucking Shahar and I have all these regrets. And now you're doing the same thing. So you're a
Mhm.
man. Okay. And so Sandriel comes down while Bryce is in his dungeon, and she's like, "LOL, watch this slideshow of you and Bryce."
Wait, when I read that, I was like, yo, this is some crazy fucked up shit. Like, this is like your worst
Yeah,
nightmare in a horror movie, right? It's like
yeah,
insane. Like, she literally cues his phone up, like, to a USB
yeah. Like
to the
Apple plays
monitor.
it.
Yeah. And it's just like all these pictures of him and Bryce since they first started working together, which I thought was like,
They like slowly fall in love in the
yeah,
photos.
like that was like cute. That was like a cute little addition that she
Yeah,
put
so
in.
cute. She's torturing.
But like he's like fucking dying in the cell with his bloody stumpy wings and
Yeah, so that's fucked. And then after she's like makes him do that for like on a loop, hours, whatever. She's like, LOL, Michael, Micah traded you and now you're mine. Haha. Like, and this is the bitch who tortured him for like years.
Yeah, and mind you, he also like hates, like truly hates with a passion, like her Triari.
And she's the identical twin of the woman he loves.
Yeah,
So, well, I
like
guess not now, but
a perfect storm.
yeah, great. So
Bad, bad
they're
luck.
like, all right, time to go. Wrap it up. Let's go hunt. Off to Pangaea we go. That's where she is the archangel of. And so as he's being transported, Bryce runs in and is like, I don't care how mad I am at you. Like, I love you. And you're like,
Hmm.
you dumb bitch.
I just like imagine her running in, like, Hun,
Yeah.
wait,
Yes. No, literally. She's like,
wait.
oh, the desperation. And
She
she
like
tries.
trips, falls on the floor.
Yes,
She's like
yes. She has
crawling.
the
She's like,
paper in her
please,
hand.
please, I
Yeah.
have it. I have the. You're free.
Right. And so she has a paper and she tried to. So she finds out how much like Sandriel paid for him, and then she takes out a loan with Jezebel. She does this shit all the time. She owes her like endless money.
Yeah.
And she tries to
Bryce
like
is indeed
bargain.
herself a slave to Jezebel.
Yeah, no, literally. She tries to bargain. She tries to buy him. She has this amulet that protects her always. She tries to give that. Sandra don't give a fuck. She burns that amulet. She says, fuck your money. I don't need it. And so she's like, how about I take his place? Like, I will do anything. Dumb bitch, not happening. Ruhn walks in and is like, absolutely not. And Ruhn is like, hey, in case you all didn't know, she's the Autumn King's daughter. I claim her as my kin as a fae, which is like, all binding. And she's like, I hate you. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, let's go. It is really emotional though, because in this moment, Hunt is like, Ruhn, like, do, and like, he's talking to them and he's like, Ruhn, like, don't let her do this. And Ruhn is like, okay, like, I got you. So in this moment, Ruhn is also upset because him and Hunt are like kind of buddies now after working together, and he's like, I'm sad you're going, but like we are both working to save Bryce because we love her.
Exactly.
So it's like a nice moment because Hunt is like, Ruhn, like, I'll go just get her safe. And he's like, all right, I got you. Like, I'll look after her. And you're like, damn, all right, well, that was kind of touching. And so Hunt is indeed taken away to Pangaea.
And now the summit begins,
Oh,
ladies and
fuck.
gentlemen.
Guys, get ready.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
shit.
So many good things happen in this last leg of the book.
Honestly, probably one of her best endings.
Okay, also
Ever.
I'm gonna have a cough attack real quick. Just give me a second.
All right, and we're back.
After my coughing fit. Anyways.
Yeah, I cut that shit out for you guys. Just figured I'd spare you.
Yeah, you don't want to fucking catch COVID through the audio, man.
Ooh.
Anyways.
Crusty bitch.
I can't help it. Anyways, so Summit. All the figureheads are there, okay?
Yeah, everyone. We got
literally everybody.
Powerhouses left and right.
All the archangels, like all the heads from each district, and Lunathion,
Crescent City, bro.
Yeah, whatever. So like all the important people, basically, let's say. And then also, so like whatever, they're all walking into like this big like
Dome.
Yeah,
I imagine like
an amphitheater.
Yes, I imagine like
right?
an amphitheater. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're all walking in, and then fucking the Med Witch walks in, and you're like, what the fuck? And they're like, oh yeah, this is Queen Hypaxia. She's taking her mother's place as head of the witches. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's good to know.
So, and it's funny because Ruhn had found her really pretty when they were working together, and he's actually like betrothed to Queen Hypaxia.
Yeah.
And
because
like,
the whole book,
he never met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did meet her multiple times.
And he also thought that the Med Witch was hot. So you're like, you're great. You're fine. You lucked out, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, so like they're all sitting down, they're like all gathered, and and all of a sudden fucking Jezebel takes the aux and she like plugs her phone in to put on this feed from Griffin Antiquities.
Fuck!
And like on the TVs of like all of the
like the whole like summit can see it.
Yeah, whatever. And you see that like Micah is in Griffin Antiquities with Bryce, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Why isn't Micah at the summit? You know, this is the thing that he's been, so worried about and needed this mission to be completed before the summit. And so you're like, what the fuck? And Sandra was like, oh, like he got called away, like da da da.
But
Like,
she's confused too because she's like, that's not where he said he was going. Like,
yeah.
he said he had like, oh my god, some like crazy thing happened. He'd be here like a little bit later.
Yeah, so like now everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? As a reader,
And
you're like, oh my god, what is gonna happen
and you
next?
read like his perspective in a section of this chapter, and he says like Jezebel's like, oh, hold on, guys, there's something you need to see. And he said like she plugs her phone in, and like Bryce's like name, like her text pops up, and she's like, "Is the feeds on?"
Mm-hmm.
And Hunt is like, "My fucking heart dropped." Like he's like, "Oh, like she's in trouble," and you're just like,
Yeah.
your heart drops for him because imagine like you're a prisoner and like the person you love is in some kind of trouble, so everyone's panicking essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
But like
and
how crazy that like Bryce knew shit was gonna go down. She immediately was like to Jezebel, like, fucking turn the feed on so everyone sees
oh, but
this.
especially she knows he should have been at the summit. So
Yeah.
she's like, something's wrong. And so also the worst part about this is no one can help. They are an hour away and all the top leaders and top security are at the summit.
Yeah.
So you're like, this is bad. And so Micah tells Bryce he's downstairs in the library with her and he says, this is the great library of Parthos. Um, at one part of this book, all of a sudden, again, like as Hallie and I mentioned, she walks past something and she's naming books and she's like, "Oh, the Book of Breathings, aka from Akatar."
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy. We don't know what the Library of Parthos is. He named it though, so I figured we should mention it because I just didn't know.
Well, the Library of Parthos, at least in like Midgard history, is just like the giant library that
Okay,
was held all the like the texts and information about the planet before the Asteria arrived.
right. So this is this library apparently. So
And
it's
but when they
important.
yeah, but when they like overtook the world, they destroyed the library.
Right,
So
but
like
they didn't.
this is what's left.
Right. It's like secret, forbidden, banned
Like
books.
I don't think that that is the original like location of the library. It's just
Right.
everything that was saved.
Saved, correct. Kind of like what's the Library of Alexandria.
Yes, exactly like that.
Same vibe.
Yes. Yes,
Thank
Jamie.
you.
Yes.
History. Okay. Whoop whoop. Okay. And so they're like just dicking around and Micah's like these books are forbidden and I'm like, this is already bad because he's like just fucking with her. And he's like, "So, Bryce, you going to give me the horn or what?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "I know that you know the truth." And you're like, "Oh man, more people know the truth and have
Oh.
secrets." And so Micah says the truth and reveals it. And Bryce does indeed. She has figured it out as well. And Danica stole the horn. She had it ground up, destroyed it, got it crushed up into like little fine dust. And she got it inked into the tattoo on Bryce's back. And so Bryce is the horn. Now I'm also
Bryce
not
is
to
the
be
horn.
more not to be morbid for like 5 seconds, but I'm like, is this where I got the idea to have my dad's ashes inked into my body? I don't know. Like,
Oh.
did I make this up?
Like subconscious.
I'm like, what? Was that a real thing? Or was I like Crescent City inspired me? I'm unsure actually now. Now I don't know what to believe. I think it was a real thing though. Either way, it makes me and Bryce badass bitches. So,
Period.
period. Right. That's all that means. But yeah, and so Bryce also does know the truth about this because when her amulet was melted by Sandriel, she went outside and she was attacked by Crystallos. It wasn't like a huge.
Sandriel.
Yeah, I couldn't think if it was Shahar or
You like
Sandriel.
couldn't
So
say
yeah,
it.
no, I was confused.
I was like,
Um, and so we didn't mention that because it wasn't like a huge point, but it's important now. And so that was when Bryce realized that she was the horn as well because that amulet protecting her, the second she didn't have it on, a Crystallos found her because she is the horn. The
Yep.
reason it was attacking everyone by her was because they were in contact with her and she is the horn, but she had the amulet on, so she was like could not be seen by the Crystallos. So
Yeah,
she is
she was
also aware that
protected.
she is the horn. She's like, God damn it.
Which
And
is
so yeah,
also crazy for like the metaverse, like when
well,
things
it's also
collide.
well, yeah, it's gonna be wild
How
for
are they
sure.
gonna how are they gonna use her body?
Yeah, that's a
So what
little
happens when
fucked.
she dies?
That's a
What
little
happens
fucked up. I
what
don't know.
happens
Yeah,
when she
like
dies?
they're gonna like taxidermy her and be like, there it is. No,
Strange.
doesn't Mike even say he's like, I'll cut the skin off your back? And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, he doesn't.
So that's pretty fucked. And also fucked of your friend to do that to you, but I digress. Let's continue on.
Yeah, so Micah's like slowly stalking Bryce. Like I can just like
Like
imagine
a
him like
panther.
yeah, like slowly like walking towards her while he's like fucking spitting his venom and Bryce is like grasping against the walls and is like, "What? What are you saying?" Like
You get so visual with these things. I'm obsessed.
I just like have these visions in my brain that I just like they just fit the scene so well.
Like that one time when you imagined Reese choking Nesta and, she was gasping and
Yeah.
sputtering. And I was like, wow, you're really painting a scene for me. Thank you.
You're
Same thing.
welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe I should be a movie producer.
You should be a voice like actor.
I've got a
Yeah.
vision.
Right.
Anyways, so yeah, so let's get back to the scheme here, not my future profession. So basically, Mike is like, yeah, I wanted to use synth to repair the horn, so essentially I could open portals and have all these demons come in and destroy the human rebels. And you're like, okay, you are a psychopath.
Okay, also part of me is like, hi, friend, archangel, powerful man. Can you not destroy the human rebels? Which I know that they have like all their badass like mech suits and shit, so I guess he can't. But I'm like, that's kind of pathetic that this is your plot to destroy humans. Again, I know the humans are pretty badass and crushing it, but like,
He just wants total annihilation. And
yeah, I
then,
guess.
like, I also think too, like, if he were to open the portals, like, he would be blameless,
Mm,
because they'd be like, "Oh my god, the portal's open," and then like, "How did
right.
that happen?" Like, no one would know.
Okay, fair.
So it's like kind of like to save his ass. But anyways,
Hmm.
so he was like, "Yeah, and your stupid bitch friend Danica found out, and she got in the way, and she stole the horn in the horn."
Horn! She stole that horn! Give me that horn!
I literally want to kill myself. Don't make me laugh. I'm gonna cough. Anyway, so she stole the horn, and
This part is big. This is a big reveal you're about to say.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Get it together.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. Yeah. So your stupid bitch friend Danica got in the way, and she stole the horn, and I couldn't let her do that, so I injected her with synth and watched her as she killed all her friends and herself, and I loved it. And you're like,
And I loved it.
what the actual
So,
hell?
guys, Danica's not addicted to drugs. It's
Micah's
fine.
just a liar.
Also, can you imagine? Because Hunt really believed that. Like, Hunt thought he had it figured out. Imagine him watching the feed being like, bro, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, literally. But like also the fact that like this almighty powerful angel is in front of Bryce and she's like probably like leaning back like on the floor like oh my god like and just getting like the most
How did she get on the floor?
I don't know, she probably like tripped and fell. I think she's like a trip and fall kind of girl.
Yeah. It's those
and-
big titties weighing her down.
Yeah. Honestly, don't get me wrong, I love Bryce, but she kind of gives me Elena vibes from Vampire Diaries. Don't know why,
Okay.
but that's besides the point. I just think it's like the situation she finds herself in. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, Micah killed Danica, and he thought that by giving Bryce this quest,
Like,
I forgot how to speak for a minute.
I was like watching you, and I was like, okay,
Like
should I help her?
I was like yelling in my head. Wow. So he thought that by putting Bryce like on this quest, like as like a redemption kind of thing, like to make her feel like she did something good.
Yeah, like she
After
solved her friend's murder.
yeah, that she would lead him to the horn because he wants the horn. But now he realizes that she is the horn. So he
So
was like, plans got to change, but a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do.
right, and so he's like, "Stay there, Bracy girl," and he hits her with all of. Ooh, I'm kicking things. Hits her with all of his power, and he's like, "We're gonna open the portals this way." And he's like, "And if it doesn't work while you're still alive, I kill you and I cut your skin off. It's okay." And you're like, "Wow, this has gotten fucking crazy."
It's like fucking
And so she's
Jeffrey
fighting
Dahmer or
him.
some shit.
I know. And so she's fighting him, and he's like, "There's other ways to get you to oblige." And he takes the fucking chimera, Syrinx, Syrinx. He takes
Syrinx.
Syrinx and
The
he throws him.
Chimera.
Yeah, he throws him in a
What'd you
fucking
call
tank.
him? A Chimera?
Chimera?
Oh my god. Chimera.
Chimera. He takes the fucking pet, Bryce's pet, and he throws him in the tank with this creepy fucking creature.
I actually cried while reading that part because you know me, I'm like a big animal person. So like I was actually crying for
Yeah,
that,
well,
but nothing else.
he throws it in there, and there's like this creepy monster in there. But also aside from that, the thing can't swim and it's drowning. So okay, and so Bryce takes like one of the books of power and like throws him with green light into like the bathroom and like locks the door. Whatever, fine. And so she like runs over. She dives in the fucking tank. She's trying to get the fucking little pet out, and
Syrinx.
right. And so she runs in, she dives in, she's like gets him, but then the Nox is coming and it bashes her head into the fucking glass many times, and then it also cuts her leg, and she's like, "Go, Chimera, go."
Chimera.
And Syrinx, go, live, baby. And so she saves him, she kicks the Nox in the fucking head, they're both there. She's giving the little thing chest compressions. And
She's
so
giving
Mike,
him fucking CPR. Like, come on.
right.
This
I feel like
angel's trying to kill you and you're, taking the time to save your pet. Like, that's so cute.
that's so real.
I know.
That's so real.
Yes, literally.
And so her leg is fucked up. She saves the Syrinx.
Why do you say it like Syrinx?
I feel like I can't. I'm not confident saying either one of its names. So I'm just like, fuck.
Oh my
She
god.
saves her pet, her beloved, and so it spits up water. And Lebaha,
Lily.
Lily, the fire sprite, Lebaha. That's her name, yes.
Leheba.
I was so confident. Okay, well, can you say it, please?
I think it's Leheba.
Okay, that one, her name is Lily. Okay, so Lily's
Yeah.
like, Bryce, come on, hurry. And then so she grabs her pet, she grabs the fire spray, and she's running. And Micah's almost out because obviously this whole time he's been trying to get out.
He's like
Now,
melting the door.
yeah, Bryce's leg is fucked up because obviously the fucking Nox hit it. Now, mind you, I just want to take a second and put a caveat that
I just want to say that these are all so chaotic. We are so chaotic right now. Anyway,
yeah,
what's your caveat?
We're not making any sense. The whole summit is watching this. So
Yeah.
Hunt is like, "Go, bitch!" And Ruhn is like, "Go, Bryce!" And they're like, "Go, whatever." So everyone's watching this like it's a fucking sporting event. Like they're like, "Let's go, Bryce," whatever. Okay, just wanted to add that. And so yeah, Micah's almost out. That whole chaotic thing that I explained, it is as chaotic as I explained it. So you're welcome.
It is chaotic.
Basically, I did you a favor to set the mood. And so Bryce is hobbling, she's bleeding out. And so Lily is like, "Go, Bryce, I will save you." And you're like, "What?" And okay, I cried at this fucking part. Are you kidding me? So let's get serious for a second. So Bryce is like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I bought your freedom," because again, Bryce is just going to be indebted to Jezebel forever.
Yeah.
And so she bought Lily's freedom, and she is a free fire sprite. And so Lily
Dobby
is like,
is a free elf.
yeah, no, that kind of vibe, guys, for sure. And so Lily's like, "Let my first act of freedom be to save my friends." Me crying, sobbing. And okay, I will say I cried. I felt heartbroken about Hunt. I was crying here because then Bryce goes upstairs with Syrinx and she closes the door. And Lily is like hitting the glass to like let all the water out to like slow down Micah and like buy Bryce some time. Obviously, water will kill her. She's a fire sprite. And the whole time she's like smacking the glass, she's saying, "My friends are with me and I am not afraid."
Yeah,
Bitch.
chills.
Like,
chills.
I read the second read on a plane. Yeah, we were going to Austin. And I was reading this and just like like snuffling and sobbing and just feeling like fucking sick to my stomach. And so she does indeed release the water and dies. And Micah is slowed down by the water. And so Bryce is like, "Okay, like she bought me like probably 2 minutes. So what can I do with these 2 minutes?"
Okay, also, just like an little interjection before we get to the real meat here. When like Micah comes out, like I just like imagine him like in Twilight, and Edward's like, "As if you could outrun me," like you know what I mean? It's like, "As if you could resist me," like and they're like in the woods, and he's like showing Bella like how powerful he is.
Yes, you know what I imagine? I imagine like Hades from Hercules when he gets like that like outburst of power when he's like feeling angry and he turns like
Yeah.
red and he's like, "Ooh, gotta stay chill," you know? Like, but like that like crazed look, like you bust
Mhm.
open the door and he's like, "Ah," you know? Which, okay, first of all, we're laughing, but that's scary as fuck. Like, if someone opened a door that pissed me, I'd be like, just kill me, actually. I'm fucking scared. Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, so
Scary. This
Bryce
is
is
actually
like,
a horror film, actually.
right, right. So Bryce is like, I got 2 fucking minutes. What am I gonna do with it?
Yeah, so Bryce, oh, she's so smart.
Oh,
She's so this.
Brycey, Brycey.
Listen, I probably okay. Let me just preface this part by just saying I speak about this scene that I'm about to say right now, like at probably at least 3 times a week to like just random fucking people. Like I feel like this is one of the most iconic death scenes SJM has ever written.
This whole end of the book is just after thing after thing after thing. I'm crying, I'm screaming, I'm sweating.
Yeah, no, but this resonated with me. I was like, yeah, this is my favorite part of the whole
Honestly,
book.
that's kind of why I was like, let Hallie talk about
Okay,
this.
so anyways, so Bryce runs her ass up to Jezebel's office, and above like her desk, she has like this gun. It's called a Godslayer rifle. Shh, God.
Well, that's a convenient name.
Yeah, so it's like broken up into like its components. So like she grabs it all down, she like putting it all together, she like loads the gun. Meanwhile, she's like limping and like hobbling down the stairs to get out of the office. And she's like, so basically before she went up into the office, she opened the front doors. I'm really bad at
Hmm.
explaining things. So she opened the front doors and to make it seem like she ran outside, but she really
Like
went
she was a
upstairs.
scared little bitch.
Yeah, but she really ran upstairs to Jezebel's office, locked the gun together, and is like waiting at the top of the stairs. So when Micah comes out from the basement and he goes to like go outside to see like where she went, she fucking shoots him in the fucking head. Right? So she shoots him in the head. Meanwhile, he's like still standing up straight. She jumps down the fucking stairs, takes Danica's sword, fucking slices him right down the center, fucking slices his body in half the other way. So now he's in 4 parts. Okay. Then she goes to the closet, gets a gallon of gasoline, pours it on his fucking mutilated body, fucking gets like a match, and just fucking lights him on fire and watches him as his body burns. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she goes back to the closet, she gets the vacuum, and she vacuums up his ashes.
It's all in her
Goes
day's
out the
work.
back door and dumps his ashes in the trash. I mean, like, come on. Can you name something more
Okay.
iconic?
So also again, imagine watching this at the summit. You're like, huh? You're like, oh.
This bitch just killed an archangel, and she fucking threw him in the trash. Like, that's
And
crazy.
then, so they had called like auxiliary units to go help her. They took a while to get there. And so they get there and she's like, chemical fire. No worries. Sorry. Sorry for the alarm. um,
Crazy.
you just burned someone's body and you were like, sorry. Stupid fire alarms. God.
So good. Just
My
so
bad.
good.
And you would think the book ends here.
No.
It doesn't.
There's still a whole lot more.
A whole lot more. Okay, and so there's a lot more. So everyone's in shock over this, obviously. And so Declan's like, guys, it's great that we're shocked, but we have bigger issues. And you're like,
There's bigger fish to fry.
what could be bigger than this, actually? And so he pulls up the city cameras, puts those on the feeds. And so turns out Micah hitting power into Bryce, his experiment of doing that, it worked. And now all of the 7 gates in every district are open and the portals to hell are coming through them. So that's fucking horrible. And so now everyone at
And
the
no
summit,
one's there.
right, everyone's an hour away. Like, so they're like, what do we do? Everyone's on their phones calling their auxiliary units. They're like, get to this, blah, blah. They have like almost like bomb shelter, like, they're not bomb shelters, but like shelters for like if there's something that's like a lockdown, like unmovable doors, whatever. And so Bryce is like, that is not enough for my day. I need to take to the streets and go save the humans. Because honestly, she's right. Like, the other districts are already fucked because all their people are like elsewhere, but the humans don't even have anyone. So
Yeah.
she runs to Asphodel Meadows and she's like, someone help me, please. And she's running for the meadows and no one's helping her. Like, everyone's like, we have barely any people in the city. They're protecting our own.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're a bunch of fucking assholes. And then no one's helping her. But then all of a sudden, Ethan comes on like the radio and, Holstrom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm coming to help you, Bryce. So it's like, aw,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Also, I'd just like to input here that like Ruhn was like, let's get or Ruhn, whatever his name is. Ruhn, yeah.
Ruhn, you were right the first time.
Yeah, sorry. Had a little glimpse, not glimpse, lapse.
Glitch? Oh.
Glitch. Oh, yeah, glitch.
Ah!
What's it called? I forgot the point that I was going to say
Ruhn
now. Oh,
is...
yeah. He wanted to, like, dispatch people to help Bryce, and the Autumn King's like, no. And
yeah,
he's like, we
everyone's
need to help her, and he's like, no.
Yeah, everyone's saying no. So Ethan, way to go, Ethan.
Her own father is like, no. Sorry.
Heartless.
Stay in Fyro.
Yep.
But I think at this point, too, a lot of the people start leaving.
Yeah, they're all going to the...
Like, they start leaving to go back to,
But they're still going to
Crescent
take an
City.
hour.
I know.
So,
crazy. But anyways.
So what do you do?
So, well, Bryce is on her own until then. So, Bryce, Ethan, and some of the wolves are like fucking beating the demons that are coming through the portals. Now, mind you, there's like hundreds of them. Like, it's not like one or two big ones. Like,
No,
like,
it's like, yeah, hundreds of demons.
like, think of like thousands of the Adder. Like, that's what's coming through.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, I guess in each section, there's like safety shelters, right? So like in the event that something like this happens, like all the veneer, the humans like go to this one place and that like locks them in to like protect them basically. So they're trying to round everybody into there while they're killing the demons, and like Ethan's like, we gotta go. So like Ethan and Bryce are like trying to run like for the safe house or whatever. But like only one is gonna make it in time. So Bryce, being the tricky bitch that she is, like fucking pushes Ethan in through like as the gate is closing, and basically shuts herself out. So now she is the only person out there with all these demons.
Yeah, literally, and like you hear him on the other end like banging on the door, but it's like it's locked.
Yeah, like it can't undo it. So like Bryce whips out her phone and she calls Hunt. And surprisingly, Sandro gives him the phone. Well, I think Ruhn was like, give him the phone, phone.
Or even like Fury, I think, was like, give him the fucking phone.
Yeah, somebody was
like
saying
they're basically like, she's gonna die, so maybe let her say goodbye.
Yeah, and the city cameras are still up, so they could still see this, right? Like they're watching her. And she tells Hunt, she was like, I forgive you for what you did, like da da da. And
this was sad too. I was a little teary for these goodbyes.
This was sad. And she was like, oh, like, I'm heir to the Starborn Fae.
Yeah, and she apologizes to Ruhn too, because she's like, I never told you the truth because like I knew how much this meant to you, that like you were the heir.
Yeah, and like the whole thing that happened with the Oracle, it was because like her magical power of like the light that comes from the Starborn Fae like blinded the Oracle. And like that's what it really happened when she went, because it was like a whole big mystery. Like no one knew what happened because she didn't tell anyone.
Like she hid it forever. Like her mom knows, like, but they hid it because they like didn't want them to claim her. And she also was like, damn, like the only reason our dad even loves Ruhn a little bit is because like he thinks he's like the heir.
Yeah.
And like she has way more power than him.
Exactly. So
Eesh.
Crazy. So basically she tells him this because she is going to use that power to close the gate to stop the demons from coming through. And essentially Danica's a genius because only someone of the Starborn Fae can use the horn. And being that Bryce is of that line and now it's tattooed onto her back, like she can use it.
Yeah, like she literally is like the object and the wielder in one. So like Bryce is essentially like she could use the horn and open realms to other portals to other realms like whenever she wants. So she's like a person
she's a
to
big
watch
deal.
out for. Yeah.
Like she actually is a major player, even though all these people think she's just like this crazy party.
Because she hasn't even made the drop yet. So she's like still immortal. So it's like, okay, you're really kind of powerful.
Yeah.
And so they're all watching this and shit is going crazy at the summit. So now Hypaxia decides to just be fully fucking unhinged, and she uses her magic and takes the thorns from Hunt's brow and releases him of his slavery, and she unleashes his power. Hunt is absolutely fucking livid and essentially explodes in a storm of lightning and thunder and decides, you know what, my girlfriend can't be cooler than I am, and so I too will kill the archangel. And so he rips Sandriel's head right from her body. He says, I've had enough of you.
You're done.
Yeah, and you're like, and like I think this is like when the archangels die, like the time stops and warps or whatever. And so this is happening again, and Ruhn's on the table, and he's like, I'm just so over these two. Actually, I would like them to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Please leave us alone. Um, and so now they're like, all right, time to go. And so Fury has a helicopter there. She like hit it because she's a smart bitch and was like, I knew something would go wrong. And so they head to the city and they're getting there just as the Asterian Guard is getting there. Now, the Asterian Guard is not there to help the city. They're like, ooh, you're overrun with demons. We are going to blow you up with brimstone missiles. And they're essentially like atomic bombs.
Great. Love that.
What a solution. And so Hunt arrives just in time. The helicopter's getting there. Again, probably like 30 minutes, whatever. The helicopter's getting over the city as they're launching the brimstone missile. And Bryce is down there. And so he jumps out of the helicopter
Yeah.
and
He goes
free
skydiving.
falls. Yes, free falls, lands on top of Bryce as the missile hits to shield her with his body. And so this happens. She wakes up because she's
Mind
like,
you, he doesn't have his wings still. Just throwing that
right,
out
he
there.
literally just fucking splattered on top of her. And so she literally like wakes up thinking she was about to die because she knew the missile was coming. And she wakes up to Hunt just bleeding all over her
Yeah.
and splattered on top of her. And so he is literally dying. Now, I don't know why I forget the explanation why this would fix him, but she comes to the conclusion that if she makes the drop, all will be well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he will live, the city will be fine. Great. So she goes to the gate and she asks if anyone can be her anchor because she's gonna make the drop. Because she needs an anchor. She needs
Mm-hmm.
someone.
Well, I think she decides to make the drop because she knew if she could generate enough power, then
She
all
could
the
like
gates
fix
would
everything.
close.
But it would also fix the city. Like I think she maybe knew she'll be that powerful. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Um, and so again, immediate fucking tears. She's asking, no one's answering. It's like real desolate, apocalyptic shit out here. And all of a sudden, the bone quarter stone lights up, and we hear Danica's voice, and she's like, "Let's light it up." And you're
What the fuck?
again, crying, like literally
Yeah.
hysterically crying.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
That was
But mind
good.
you, everyone's on watching the feed and they're like, she can't anchor with Bryce because she's not
A
living.
real
She's
right.
dead.
Like this is like a piece of her soul or like a part of her that remains.
Yeah. And they're like,
Um,
they don't, she does she not realize that she's gonna die?
like this is like the only kernel of Danica left. Like, cool, she's embodying it to make a voice, and her essence is here, but she is not a person. She cannot anchor you without like a physical living body. Like she's not alive.
Yeah, bad.
So they're all saying this, but Bryce doesn't realize it, and she's like dropping it up.
Yeah, she's like, fuck it. So she goes to make the drop. And so basically she's like descending like into her power and she goes like really, really, really deep. And like the deeper you go, like tells you like how much power you have. So she's like hitting all the markers and she hits like just a decimal above the Autumn King. So she,
Powerful as fuck.
yeah, so and the fact that she outranked her dad, like he's fucked. You know,
Yeah.
like
I feel like she literally had to have known subconsciously where he fell, and she was like, "LOL, point one above you." Like,
yeah.
she's like,
But she also got more than Ruhn as well.
by far.
Yeah, poor Ruhn.
But like
Anyways,
Hallie said, it's now harder to get back up.
yeah, so basically, you know, she doesn't have someone on the other side like encouraging her and pulling her to come back up, right? So, not a good look, but like, so Bryce gets to the bottom, right, of her power, and she's sitting there, she's talking to Danica, and Bryce is like, oh my god, like, I love you, like, la 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 la
Which
la.
honestly gave me like the chills because like she's like, I like miss you. Like it's just like a really
Yeah,
emotional, like you're like, fuck. And she's like, you like had to
yeah.
leave me. Like you're just
But
like,
But Bryce tells her, she was like, this was my plan. Like, I'm okay to die now. And Danica's like, no. Like, you have to keep going. Like, you have to go. Like, complete the drop, bro. And she was like, no, like, then I won't be with you. Like, whatever, XYZ. long story short, Danica gets her to go. So she's like, hey, gotta run. So she's legit running, like, on this ramp, fucking jumps off the ramp. And, like, Danica, like, pushes her, like, gives her the boost back to, like, come back to life.
Oh, which this part too, like I forget what they're saying. Like at the summit, they're all talking like she's not gonna make it. She's all alone, and like
Yeah.
Sabine's like, no, she's not. And I'm like, wow, like
Yeah.
fucking actually like kill me. And here's my thing that I'm really shocked about. Even talking about it now, I'm getting like a little teary. Like I don't have this feeling about Akatar for
No.
very singular moments. Maybe like when Reese was telling Feyre like the whole history of them.
Yeah, like chapter 54.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
sure. But like this whole end of the book between like Lily dying, now
Mm-hmm.
Danica, like it really fucking hits me way harder. It really does.
Yeah. I don't. Hmm. Yeah, I wonder why.
I don't know. Maybe
Well,
because
I.
maybe because people actually fucking die. I don't know. Fucking crazy. Jesus. I mean, really though. Like, hello.
Yeah, this is like real shit. It is
Yeah, like
crazy.
they're like she's dead. She misses her friend. Her friend's love is helping her. Like no one dies in Akatar. I'm sick of you all living.
Don't
I'm
worry.
not upset.
Cassian will die for you, okay? He'll die.
I'll die for my sins.
Well, anyways, so Hunt, like, has Bryce, like, in his arms, and he's like, live, Bryce, live.
Also
Like, come
crying.
back to me. Like, okay. I
Yeah, and
was.
he's like, he's also intense as fuck about it because he's like, she, when he was dying, was like, I'm gonna do this for you. We have to like a life to live together, yada yada.
Yeah.
And he's like, I heard what you said. Come say it to my fucking face. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that intensity is so hot.
Yeah.
Like, she's dying, and he's like, come say you love me to my fucking face. And I'm like, I'd wake up.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, she does wake up, and Hunt's healed, and, they're, reunited, and she lives. And you're like, yay.
You are like, yay. But also, I'm so sick of these motorcycles. Actually, I know it's a nice day, but go home. Okay. I'm over them. I'm so fucking annoyed. Anyways, imagine you can't hear it.
Everyone's like, is she okay?
Relax. Anyways, so yeah, you are happy, but like, what a whirlwind, guys. I'm tired. I'm done. Like, I'm over it. Like, I need therapy, a bed, a cookie. I don't know. And so Bryce and Hunt go back to the apartment.
Yeah.
So when she makes the drop and has all
The
this
end.
power, right? Yeah. All the power she generated also fixed the city, like fix the buildings. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
So it's like the brimstone missiles never went off.
Pretty much. And so Bryce and Hunt go back to the apartment, and when she made this drop, she now has a new like translucent white tattoo on her chest, and it's an 8-pointed star.
Go figure.
Bow, 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 bow. That was a good one. That was
That
actually
was actually pretty
that
good.
was a good one. Thank you kindly. And so yeah, so again, that is the mark of the Starborn Fae. We've seen it in Akatar a million times. We're tying it all together like a nice little bow present. And so Regulus calls. Did I say that right? Regulus? Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Regulus calls, just rings up her fucking house, like casually, like this is Steery. And he's like,
Avon calling.
like, right. And he's like, hey, Bryce girl, so basically, I need you and Hunt to live quiet lives, keep your fucking mouth shut, and we won't kill you and all your family. Also, don't use that horn ever. And we're gonna act like you didn't just kill 2 archangels. Sound like a good deal? All right, we're in agreement. All right, talk to you later. And you're like, I mean, not a bad deal. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Like,
like, no, but, like, also, like, that's gonna come back to, like, fucking bite him in the ass.
for sure. But I'm just saying,
Because Bryson Hunt cannot just live quiet lives.
that's my issue. So we'll talk a lot about this plot point in book 2, right? Why not? Shut the fuck up, sit quiet, date each other, go to baseball games. I
This is
don't.
fantasy, Jamie.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
They are heroes. The hero's journey is never ended.
yeah, okay, well, they're idiots. Anyways, so yeah, so that's what he tells them. Okay, great. Now it ends with an epilogue, interestingly enough. Now, the 2 characters in this are Jezebel and Adis, the Prince of the Chasm. They have like a 2-page little quickie combo. Weird combo. Still don't know what the deal with it is.
Yeah.
They're talking about Thea and Peleus, the 2 Starborn descendants. That part I'm not as confused about because Bryce is a Starborn descendant. He's like, I'd recognize Thea's light anywhere. Bryce
Mm-hmm.
has her light. Okay, so Bryce is a Starborn
Yeah.
Fae.
Cool.
Again, she came from the descendants of Prithian. I'm not that confused about that. What I am confused about is they're talking about Hunt's father, who we don't know anything about. Briefly mentioned. All
Mm.
we know about Hunt is that his mother, his name is Orion,
Mm-hmm.
his real name. We don't know anything about his father, and Jezebel makes a comment, and Adis is like, "Oh, well, you knew him best." And you're like, "So who the fuck's Hunt's dad? What's going
Yeah.
on here?" We still don't know. I mean, who knows if we will in book 3? I hope so. If not, though, I mean, there's more
If
Crescent
we
City
ever
books.
fucking read book 3, Jamie.
I just think I'm not that excited, to be quite honest.
Honestly, after this episode, I'm like fucking pumped. I'm like, let's keep
Okay,
going.
okay, I think we needed that then because I'm better now. But like when we were doing Akatar, I was like,
No.
I don't want to read this
I was
book
like,
ever.
no. I was like, I never want to read an SJM novel ever again.
I am getting pumped. I'm ready. I'm fired up. I think book 2 gets really. I think book 2 will also hype us up more.
Yeah, because book 2, I feel like the general consensus is that book 2 is better than book 1, from
Yeah.
what I've,
Well, because then at that point
heard.
you're done with the world building. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so you can
Like
really just dive right in.
exactly. Like book 1, literally the first half
Hmm.
you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, but then like, yeah, and book 2 gets crazy because now there's even more plot points. Like the story like takes a hard left, you
Yeah,
know.
like how this one there was all these conspiracies. Now we're like really conspiracies. Like worldwide.
Now we're really conspiracies.
We got lots. Yeah, and so just as like just the closing point. So now I feel like Bryce did not know Danica, but it was in a good way. When we thought she was a drug
Yeah.
addict, that wasn't great.
No.
But it was really she is a good person. She did have the best of the city at heart.
Yeah.
She did look out for Bryce, and she is trying to save the world and was like, I know Bryce and this is, how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So yes, didn't know her, but positive. Just wanted to like close with that because we don't want to smear our girl's
Hmm.
name because
Well,
we
we
love her.
also, when you read book 2, you also realize you don't know anything about Danica again.
Oh
So,
God, I forgot about that. Yeah, maybe actually not. Oh, I'm hitting my mic 'cause I'm excited. Yeah, scratch that. Maybe not in a bad way, but it's like, how much of best friends really were you?
no, yeah, because I think even Bryce like makes a comment in book 2, and she's like, "What the like? Who the fuck is Danica?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad for her. Okay, well, and so on that note, who the fuck is Danica? Let's find out next week.
Where in the world is
Uh,
Danica Fendir?
right, right. Okay, so next week we are doing
Part
part 1
1.
of book 2, A House of Sky and Breath. We're doing it in 2 parts. We're gonna
Yeah,
try.
we're not dicking around. We're just breezing right through this shit.
Yeah, we're not taking around. We are going to do book 2 in 2 parts. We're doing book 3 in 3 parts because the book is written into 3 parts. So we're going to do it in the sense where we read one part, we record our reaction, we read the next part, we record our reaction, and so on. So it's going to be like a little bit different because we're not going to know how the book ends when we're recording the first part of the episodes on it, which I
Yeah.
think is going to be fun.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, so we have like a little like twisty different dynamic for you there. And then we are actually going to read Housemaid, which you guys voted on, which I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah, I'm ready to take a break from the fantasy after this.
I think it's just SJM is so layered and so deep dive, which I appreciate, obviously,
And they're not
as
completed series either. So it's like
correct.
we don't have an ending.
We don't have an ending now.
Like it's still the wheels are
Yeah.
turning.
Yeah, I appreciate her writing as a reader and how layered and depthy it is. But at the same time, when you have to do a podcast on it and explain it and do a deep dive, it's not as much fun.
It's also our fault because we were like, yeah, let's do this.
She inspired us and then she took us through the
This
fucking
was
ringer.
like a bold fucking move, starting off a podcast with these long ass freaking fantasy series that's all a
no,
part of a metaverse.
right, no practice, never podcasted a day in our lives, and we were like,
Yeah.
let's do this. Okay.
Whatever.
We couldn't start off with like light, fluffy romance books where we would be like, oh, cute. We were like,
No.
let's really have in-depth notes and dissect every sentence. Yeah, good for fucking us. Okay.
The flex. Subtle
Love it.
flex.
Yeah, actually, we're amazing. So, wow,
Like, comment, subscribe.
yeah, you can't tell Eric podcasted before? Oh my god, really? Okay. And so yeah, so anyways, aside
We
from
were
us
made for
being
the screen, baby.
right.
Actually, we're doing podcasts. This is for audio listeners.
It is, but we will eventually have a cutesy studio and you will look at our beautiful faces.
One day.
One day. All right. Well, we could dream forever. We're gonna go now.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Um,
I need to eat.
yeah, and so we will see you. Okay, we will
Sorry.
see you next week for part 1 of Crescent City, a house. Nice. A house of sky and breath.
Ew, I did not like that. It's like those weird ASMR things when they're like,
All right.
goodbye.
Fucking see you later, bitches.
Bye.
Bye.